The Tekken saga is more than brutal fights. It's a tangled web of family curses, demonic powers, and relentless battles for control. Every final boss isn't just a fighter, but a symbol of a deeper struggle shaped by love, betrayal, and ancient forces. Let's start at the very beginning, where a secret mission and a tragic duel set the stage for the Mishima family's dark legacy, Kazumi Mishima. Kazumi Mishima isn't just another fighter in Tekken, she's the origin of the Devil Gene nightmare and the catalyst for decades of family destruction. As part of the Hachiyo clan, Kazumi was born with the Devil Gene, a supernatural curse that infected the Mishima bloodline after she married Heihachi Mishima. Her love for Heihachi was real, but she also had a secret mission: kill him if his ambitions threatened the world. Talk about a complicated marriage. Before you roll your eyes at the tragic love story trope, hear me out. Kazumi's conflict wasn't just emotional, it was a literal battle between love and destiny. When she transformed into Devil Kazumi during their fight in the Mishima dojo, it wasn't just a power-up. It was the Devil Gene corrupting her, pushing her to eliminate Heihachi in a brutal, no-holds-barred fight. Heihachi fights back coldly and kills her on the spot, proving even demonic powers don't replace good old punches. That moment, it's the spark that kicks off the Mishima blood. Kazumi's death traumatizes her son Kazuya, setting him on a path of hatred and vengeance. Her disappearance plays a key role in the fall of Jinpachi Mishima and the rise of the Mishima Zaibatsu, the corporate war machine that turns family tragedy into global conflict. The Zaibatsu's power is built on the chaos Kazumi's death unleashed. Here's the kicker: Kazumi's story turns the Devil Gene saga into a clash between love and duty, human emotion and destiny. Her defeat isn't just a mother losing a fight, it's when the Mishima curse turns from hidden threat to violent legacy. Without her death, there'd be no Mishima Empire, no global war, and no endless cycle of betrayal. But if you think that's the end of chaos, wait until you hear how her son Kazuya's descent into devilry unfolds next. Kazuya Mishima. Kazuya Mishima's story is a brutal transformation from a helpless kid to a ruthless avenger driven by a demonic curse. As a child, he faced a deadly test from his father, Heihachi Mishima, who threw him off a cliff to see if he was strong enough to survive. But here's the kicker: the Devil Gene inside Kazuya awoke at that exact moment, saving him and turning him into something far more dangerous than human. From then on, Kazuya's goal was clear: get revenge on the father who tried to kill him and seize control of the Mishima Zaibatsu. His ambitions later expanded to rival the G Corporation, dragging him deeper into the bloody corporate and supernatural wars at the heart of Tekken. His devil form, glowing eyes and energy blasts included, became a symbol of his unleashed rage. Kazuya's classic final boss defeat comes in Tekken 2, when Heihachi battles his son once more. After a brutal fight, Heihachi wins, and, in a harsh replay of his own childhood test, throws Kazuya into a boiling volcano. This moment is iconic, not just for its violence, but because it represents the cycle of hatred between father and son. But here's where it gets weird. This defeat isn't permanent. While Kazuya burns in the lava, G Corporation retrieves his remains from the volcanic depths, ensuring the Devil Gene survives and setting him up for an even deadlier return. The volcano isn't the end, it's just a pause. The tragedy is that Kazuya is trapped in a family curse forged by Heihachi's brutal tests. The attempts to control or destroy the Devil Gene only preserve it, fueling their endless cycle of destruction. Kazuya isn't just a cast-off son. He's relentless vengeance wrapped in demonic fury. But if you think Kazuya's story is dark, wait until we get into Jun Kazama, the woman who balances him and mothers his son. Jun Kazama stands out in Tekken lore as the moral compass lost in the middle of Mishima chaos. She's the peaceful, protective counterpoint to the Mishima family's endless violence, an environmental officer turned reluctant fighter who ultimately becomes the mother of Jin Kazama. Her story is one of innocence caught in a storm of demonic ambition. Before you roll your eyes thinking she's just a bland, good character, hear me out. Jun's disappearance is one of the most tragically charged moments linked directly to Mishima hubris. After Heihachi awakened the ancient entity Ogre that unleashed a chain reaction none of them could stop, which includes Jun's attack alongside her young son Jin on the remote island of Yakushima. The official story is simple: Jun and Jin are ambushed by Ogre, and in the chaos she vanishes, never truly confirmed dead, but effectively erased from Jin's life and the entire saga. But here's where it gets dark. It wasn't just a random monster attack, it was a direct consequence of Heihachi's reckless decision to awaken Ogre in his insane insane pursuit of power. Jun, the embodiment of pacifism and protection, was collateral damage in the Mishima bloodline's war on itself. Her disappearance fuels the crushing emotional drive behind Jin's journey. It's why he enters the tournament, why he fights with such fury, not just to face Ogre and True Ogre, but to avenge the mother who stood against the darkness yet was swallowed by it anyway. Jun, ambiguous fate, makes her more than a footnote or lost NPC. She's the lingering moral question in a series drenched in betrayal and power struggles. Innocence destroyed by demonic forces, and a missing piece of the Mishima puzzle that keeps Jin's story emotionally resonant and morally complex. But if you think one vanished Kazama sparks enough tragedy, wait until you see the real monster behind it all. Ogre is the ancient soul-devouring entity that changed everything in the Tekken universe. Awakened by Heihachi's relentless obsession with unlocking supernatural power, Ogre isn't just some random monster, it's the apex of ancient evil that bridges the gap between the Mishima family's brutal power struggles and darker, otherworldly forces. This big bad essentially marks the shift from family drama to full-on demonic horror. Before you think of Ogre as just an old-school boss fight, hear me out. This creature is directly responsible for Jun Kazama's mysterious disappearance. It attacks hunters and fighters, absorbing their souls and fighting styles to grow stronger, which makes it more than just a monster. It's a catalyst for everything that follows in the story. The Mishima bloodline's ambition literally unleashes it on the world, turning personal revenge into a cosmic conflict. Officially, Ogre is awakened by Heihachi after Tekken 2, when the Zaibatsu experiments lead him to uncover this ancient being buried deep in ruins. It shows up first as an imposing boss called Ancient Ogre, wreaking havoc on Jun and others, driving the narrative toward Jin Kazama seeking revenge. Jin's fight with Ogre in Tekken 3 is no casual tournament. It's a reckoning with forces far beyond mortal grudges. Jin, quote, as victory over Ogre, is what triggers the creature's terrifying evolution into True Ogre, a monstrous transformation that raises the stakes even higher. Ogre's defeat isn't an end, it's a dark escalation, signaling that the Mishimas are out of their depth. Ogre represents the first major supernatural hurdle before the series dives headlong into the internal demonic struggles with the devil gene. Here's where it gets weird. Heihachi's attempt to control Ogre backfires spectacularly. By awakening it, he not only loses Jun, but also sets Jin on a path that increasingly entwines with demonic power and family betrayal. Ogre's fall directly leads to True Ogre's rise, which cranks the threat level up exponentially and sets Jin up for a much darker destiny. So, Ogre is basically the Mishima Ambition's Frankenstein monster, born from human greed, but fueled by ancient evil, kicking off the supernatural spiral that the series is famous for. If you think Ogre was intense, wait until you see what happens with True Ogre. True Ogre is the monstrous second form of the ancient entity Ogre in Tekken 3, the fully unleashed version the player faces during the final battle. But here's the kicker. This isn't just some hulking monster, it's a horrifying fusion of all the souls it has consumed, embodying the power and fighting styles of countless fallen warriors. True Ogre represents the destructive accumulation of power, a beast made from the wreckage of everyone who dared to oppose it. Most players remember Jin's clash with True Ogre as the ultimate test of his strength before his devil gene fully awakens. Before you roll your eyes thinking it's just a hard boss fight, hear me out. Jin beats this colossal amalgamation purely through human determination and martial skill. No demonic transformations yet. This was the last stand of Jin's humanity, a symbolic moment where human will overcomes the supernatural horror exactly one time. The fight itself is brutal, with True Ogre sporting wings, a blazing fire breath, and limbs longer than some buildings. Jin weaves through these nightmares with sheer grit, hammering the beast into submission. This victory isn't just a plot checkpoint, it's thematic gold. Jin conquers a monster made from souls likely including previous fighters like Jun Kazama and others lost to Ogre's hunger, proving that it's possible to face the past darkness and win. But here's where it gets weird. Just as Jin's about to breathe relief, Heihachi betrays him, trying to kill Jin right after the fight. This brutal backstab triggers Jin's devil gene to finally awaken, marking the end of Jin's purely human era. The defeat of True Ogre isn't a clean victory, it's a loss in disguise. Jin's heroic act ends up setting the stage for his inner demon to rise, turning the series' conflict inward. True Ogre's downfall marks a pivotal shift in Tekken lore, from vanquishing external ancient ancient threats to battling the internal demonic curse within Jin himself. With Ogre and True Ogre gone, the focus turns to the Mishima family's bloodline horrors that will dominate future tournaments. If you think a composite soul-devouring beast is intense, wait until we get into Jinpachi Mishima's haunted legacy next. Jinpachi Mishima. Jinpachi Mishima is the original head of the Mishima Zaibatsu, a powerful patriarch locked away beneath the Hanmaru dojo by his own son, Heihachi. Sounds like family drama on steroids, right? But it gets worse. While trapped in darkness, Jinpachi is possessed by a demonic spirit, turning him into a terrifying final boss in Tekken 5. This possession twists the once mighty leader into a tragic monster, both victim and villain tangled up in the Mishima curse. Before you write off Jinpachi as just another demon to punch, hear me out. His possession isn't inherited like the infamous devil gene with Kazuya or Jin. It's an outside force corrupting a man already broken by betrayal. That makes Jinpachi unique. He's the ancient Mishima nearly destroyed by obsession, betrayal, and supernatural manipulation, not someone born with dark powers inside. Officially, Jinpachi was locked away after Heihachi's coup for control of the Zaibatsu. Over time, a vengeful spirit infested his prison, warping him into a powerful monster with devilish strength and energy attacks. Players face him atop the old Hanmaru dojo, where he unleashes crushing energy blasts and earth-shaking moves. But here's the kicker. When Jin Kazama finally defeats this possessed great-grandfather, Jinpachi briefly regains his humanity. In a surprisingly tender moment, he thanks Jin for ending his torment before fading away. It's not just a kill, it's a mercy release. This death isn't family cleanup, it's pivotal. Jinpachi's fall clears the path for Jin to rise as Mishima Zaibatsu's new leader, igniting another deadly chapter in the Mishima saga. His death signals the destruction of the old guard, consumed by obsession and possession, replaced by a younger generation ready to drag the world into chaos. What makes this tragedy stick is Jinpachi embodies the Mishima curse's origin, a proud patriarch destroyed not just by blood, but by the darkness unleashed from endless betrayal. Jin's mercy killing shows a flicker of compassion amid relentless violence, hinting humanity isn't lost in this brutal lineage. But if you think possessed ancestors make for complicated bosses, just wait until the next demonic force appears, Azazel is pretty much the demon kingpin behind the whole devil gene mess in Tekken. The colossal crystalline beast, introduced as the final boss of Tekken 6, isn't just another big monster, it's the likely origin of that cursed power infecting the Mishima bloodline, namely the Hachijo clan, where the devil gene started. Jin Kazama's global war isn't just some random fight, it's him trying to awaken Azazel buried deep in a desert temple, hoping to crush the source of the demonic curse once and for all. Before you shrug it off as another boss fight, hear me out. The lore literally ties Azazel's existence to the apocalyptic cycles Tekken's story constantly leans on, an unstoppable corruption that resets the world every time the devil gene flares up. Jin's crusade to provoke worldwide conflict with Mishima Zaibatsu and G Corporation isn't heroic. It's morally gray at best, a calculated chaos to rile up Azazel so he can battle at head dash on dot fighting. Azazel is brutal in every sense. The battle demands mastery, with Azazel's attacks crushing the temple and Jin barely hanging on, clad in his devil form. He shatters the demon's massive crystalline wings and eventually brings down the beast, but the aftermath isn't tidy. Azazel's death is shrouded in ambiguity. Post-fight, there's no definitive the monster is dead scene. Instead, Jin disappears, presumed missing or unconscious, and Azazel's body is left obscure. So while Jin wins the battle, the threat lingers. Here's the kicker. Azazel's defeat doesn't sever the devil gene. Devil power remains active in Jin, Kazuya, and others. That means the fight against Azazel wasn't the happily ever after cleanse of the Mishima curse fans might have hoped for. It's more like a deep cut, significant, but incomplete. This half-finished business perfectly frames Azazel as the ultimate origin of Mishima demonic corruption and Jin's bleak, catastrophic crusade. Nothing about this fight feels like a victory lap. Instead, it's the eye of a never-ending storm that Jin dared to stare down. If you thought Azazel was the peak of demonic devastation, wait till we dive into the brutal family legacy and sheer brutality of Heihachi Mishima next. Heihachi Mishima isn't just a brute patriarch, he's the beating heart of the Mishima family's brutal cycle of ambition, betrayal, and violence. Unlike his son Kazuya or grandson Jin, Heihachi doesn't carry the devil gene. But don't be fooled, he's corrupted by something just as destructive, an insatiable lust for power, and a ruthless willingness to manipulate demonic forces and family alike to keep control of Mishima Zaibatsu. Before you write him off as just another villain, Hear me out. Heihachi's rise isn't just about brute strength, it's about cold calculation, strategic awakenings of entities like Ogre and Azazel, and total disregard for the fallout of playing God. He's the architect of nearly every tragedy in the Mishima saga, yet also a victim of the very cycle he helped start. His final canonical defeat in Tekken 7 perfectly mirrors the family's tragic pattern. After decades of throwing Kazuya off cliffs during their legendary battles, he finally meets his end in a volcanic showdown, where Kazuya turns the tables and casts Heihachi into molten lava. Poetic justice on full display. Heihachi dies the same way he tried to kill others, closing the bloody Mishima circle. This volcano battle isn't just physical, it's symbolic. The climax of bitter rivalry fueled by years of betrayal. Kazuya's demonic powers clash with Heihachi's relentless will in a fight ending with Heihachi's body consumed by lava. It's throne room level finality for the Heihachi era, but here's where it gets dark. His death doesn't stop the chaos. Mishima Zaibatsu fractures further without his iron grip. Corporate warfare and power struggles explode between Kazuya, Jin, and other factions. The family curse Heihachi, both perpetuated and embodied, continues to fuel endless conflict. What stands out is how Heihachi is both monster and martyr here. He victimizes his family, throws his blood into death pits, and awakens horrors like Ogre through ambition. Yet he suffers ultimate betrayal and demise at his son's hands, a victim of the cycle he helped start. This tragic symmetry drives Tekken's core themes: generational curses, doomed legacies, and endless betrayal. Walking away from Heihachi's fall, you realize the Mishima saga isn't about heroes or villains alone. It's about destructive patterns families trap themselves in. His volcano death is a violent punctuation on decades of tragedy, but also a new beginning, marked by instability and fresh conflicts deepening the dark drama dot. If you think Heihachi's demise ends the Mishima curse, wait until we dive into Angel Jin, the embodiment of Jin Kazama's battle to reconcile his demonic heritage with his Kazama lineage. Angel Jin is the ultimate evolution of Jin Kazama's tortured legacy, a final boss less about destruction and more about internal resolution. After decades wrestling with the devil gene curse inherited from the Mishima bloodline, Jin finally manages to conquer and integrate that demonic power with the pure Kazama clan energy. The result? An angelic form representing a rare moment of harmony between the two opposing forces that have torn him apart since Tekken 3. Before Angel Jin, Tekken's final bosses were usually about domination or descent into darkness. Think True Devil, Kazuya's full embrace of demonic power for conquest, or Heihachi's ruthless climb atop the Mishima Zaibatsu. Angel Jin flips that script. He's not the culmination of evil or unrestrained violence. He's a symbol of redemption and spiritual transcendence. Where True Devil Kazuya screams, "I am the devil incarnate," Angel Jin calmly declares, "I am balance." Tekken shows that after all the bloodshed, betrayal, and ancient curses, there's still a chance for hope mixed with clouded uncertainty. Introduced in Tekken 8, Angel Jin is one of the hardest final bosses in arcade mode, appearing if you land 3 or more perfect rounds, and also acts as an internal adversary within the campaign. Defeating him isn't just beating a fighter, it's overcoming Jin's own internal struggle. But here's the kicker: Angel Jin's defeat in gameplay doesn't mean a death like we saw with Heihachi or Jinpachi. Instead, it marks a thematic climax, the end of one battle within Jin's soul rather than the end of Jin himself. Think of Angel Jin like a spiritual checkpoint in the Mishima saga. The decades of fighting have been about external wars, tournaments, volcanoes, ancient demons, while Angel Jin turns the lens inward. He's the fusion of the series' two central powers, the Devil's Rage and the Kazama's protective purity. This fusion creates a form glowing with white light and wings, moving fluidly between devastating power and graceful calm. It's almost ironic that the most evolved final boss isn't just a monster to defeat, he's assigned the Mishima feud, and supernatural curse might be transcended. Angel Jin's story contrasts sharply with True Devil Kazuya's path. Where Kazuya spirals deeper into demonic terror, Jin's angelic state hints at forgiveness and balance, even if it's fragile. Jin's mastery over the devil gene isn't about suppression, but coexistence, an uneasy truce full of questions. This ambiguity keeps Angel Jin compelling and mysterious. Is Jin truly free from the curse, or has he only tempered it? The game leaves it unclear. That uncertainty fuels fan debate over whether Angel Jin is ultimate victory or just a new phase in a never-ending struggle. From a gameplay perspective, Angel Jin offers one of the most challenging final boss fights in Tekken history. His moveset blends energy blasts with Kazama martial arts, forcing players to adapt constantly. Facing him is like battling both Jin's full potential and his internal hesitation, a boss demanding respect both narratively and mechanically. Angel Jin's story marks a hopeful new chapter for the Mishima bloodline and Tekken's supernatural war. It suggests that after all the violence, true balance might be possible, not by wiping out one side, but through integration. For the first time, the devil gene is part of Jin's identity. He accepts rather than fights. Of course, that hope comes with caveats. Angel Jin's ambiguous fate means the story isn't over. The Mishima saga is a war not easily ended, and the devil gene's shadow still looms. But Angel Jin stands as the most evolved final boss, a symbol that the endless cycle of revenge and destruction might one day give way to inner peace. It's a powerful, almost poetic way to close this long-running drama. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now